It's midweek, Wednesday, the 6th of May, 2020. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. On the platform, we take a look at issues as it affected their nation, Nigeria, and also as it affected their state, Abia State. Welcome on board. My name is Michael Oni. The program comes up on radio every Monday, every Wednesday, and also every Friday on the flow of God's own state. Now, last week, the Infectious Disease Bill to help the country handle disease outbreaks passed its second reading at the Federal House of Representatives. However, controversy about what the bill entails has prompted outcries against it, especially on the social media. The Infectious Disease Bill, which was sponsored by the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, is supposed to replace the National Quarantine Act by providing special powers that would allow the government to curb outbreaks. Critics say that the draft copy of this contentious new bill that purports to tackle the administration of infectious diseases in Nigeria, but could end up taking away the rule of law and civil rights as we currently know them. Now, with the current COVID-19 outbreak ravaging the country, one would expect that such bill should be lauded by the public. But on the contrary, the bill has been met with strong opposition, with several Nigerians claiming it creates more problems than it purports to solve. Sponsored by the Speaker, the bill seeks to strengthen the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and make it more proactive and not just reactive and function when there is an outbreak. Now, the bill also seeks to empower the President, the Minister of Health, as well as the Director General of the NCDC and the institutions they had to make regulations on quarantining, vaccination, and prevention of infectious diseases in Nigeria. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has defended his promotion of the control of the Infectious Diseases Bill, arguing that its content and timing was appropriate. He also pledged that there will be a public hearing where Nigerians will be given the opportunity to contribute to the draft law. The speaker made this known at the beginning of the plenary. That was yesterday, and he said the bill was conceived in the best interest of the Nigerian people and no one else. Many Nigerians had rejected a move by the House of Representatives to repeal the Quarantine Act and replace with the Control of the Infectious Diseases Bill, which we will be discussing this morning. The bill, which scaled the second reading before it was stood down last week, had 82 sections. He said, as the number of those currently infected by the coronavirus continues to rise alongside the number of those who have died, there is no timeline for when the disease will pass, and nobody can predict when the next public health crisis will occur, just as nobody predicted the present predicament. So, well, on the platform this morning, we are poised to explore all the sides of arguments, the position of the House of Representatives, as we hear from the Chairman, House Committee on Information, and member representing Bende Federal Constituency of Abia State, Benjamin Okeze Kalu. On the flip side, we shall be hearing from one of the hardliners. Those who are against the bill, Honorable Nkem Abonta, the member representing Ukwa East, and later, Mrs. Lillian Ezenwa Ukawa, the Executive Director, Public Enlightenment Project, a health-based non-governmental organization. Now, first joining us this morning on the program is Honorable Nkem Abonta, the member representing Ukwa East West at the House of Representatives. Sir, glad to have you join us this morning on the program.
Yeah, good morning and good morning, listeners.
All right, you're on to Flow 94.9 FM, transmitting live from Abia State. Now, you were one of the hardliners, those who opposed this bill. Can we know why you think it is not appropriate at this time to have such a bill?
Oh, well, to stand, first of all, I did not say it wasn't appropriate to have the bill now. But I said that we must pass all through the process of lawmaking. One, if you have read the bill, the concentrated powers on an individual or a body, power to do certain things. The bill never took care of our fundamental human rights. The bill never took care of our constitutional rights. The bill went contrary to our federal nature. We are a federal government. In that bill, the state governors will have no say.
Okay.
Local government is not considered. Therefore, I was of the opinion that we should allow time to look at that bill. Let the public make contribution, including you.
Interesting. So the issue of forced vaccination is of concern to Nigerians as well.
Yes, the bill that was give so much power to the DG, whoever will be the DG of the disease control, to upon suspicion quarantine you and administer whatever he thinks he deems fit that will control this, including any kind of medication. And then if you look at section 30, 46, 17, 8, and all whatnot of the bill, the vaccine is forceful. The thing is hidden on the line. And I asked a question, for those of them that marry plenty wives, assuming you marry the daughter of the DG, you have disagreement with the daughter and send the daughter home, and the man wants to get her too. You say, oh, no, I think that my former in-law had this disease, I stay indoors. And if he will give you a medication that will stop the spread, which could include giving vaccine that will make the person die, but if you have it and you can't cure you and you die, you will well. So what we are saying is that subject the bill to public hearing and scrutiny so that when it comes out, it will be a law for the people, made by the people. We are representing people.
Okay.
So I should also take the bill home and ask my constituents, are you okay with this? Do I assent to it? Do I contribute? So I can't just do it alone. That's what I'm asking for.
Honorable Sir, the COVID-19 pandemic is a warlike situation. You will agree with me. Don't you think we should explore every opportunity with every urgency to strengthen our health system?
The urgency is required. But what I'm saying, direction is better than speed. So if you are trying to be urgent and produce the bill today, will that cure COVID-19, that bill? Assuming that we are trying it now, will COVID-19 be cured? The urgency now is to look at how do we stop the spread and to cure it. Why we work on that? If we could come for treatment, we can also organize the public hearing so that people will look at it. And let me also tell you, don't overlook the argument of going on in the whole world, of the new world economic order. We've been told that these chips will be available through vaccine. I mean, so can't we have Nigerian developed vaccine that we can be sure of? You cannot tell who is getting this vaccine. Let us know. We must understand. For example, now we know there's vaccine for yellow fever and all whatnot. So the name of the vaccine must be clearly identified and not. So you don't just do something by getting, but whether we need a public health law, we do, and we urgently need a one that is fine. We urgently need. But in that urgency, we must be thorough. Let me tell you, in Nigeria, we have this political problem and that politicians are magicians. They want to give somebody a power to create prison yards. By the power in that bill as proposed, they can look at law and say this compound is disease infected. Therefore, nobody goes in and out. Maybe because he made a broker they don't like. So we must think of tomorrow. And when you do that law, you don't have appeal. How can a bill take away the right of a court? They say the minister's opinion is final. And to put ideas in their words, opined and said, no matter how smart a legal define is, you cannot oust the power of a court. So they should now say, or put in the bill as a vow, if you say I have this disease, I say I don't have it, there should be another third party to confirm, so I will know you're acting in good faith. Nigerian Medical Association should be involved.
So we can say that your biggest fear is that if this bill sails through, it accrues too much powers to the DG of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control.
Absolute power to create prison yards, not just too much, absolute power. There should be third parties to look at that his actions will be done in good faith. These are the vows. I praise the speaker for his intelligence, for his ingenuity to come out with such a bill now. But we cannot sacrifice reality on the audience of state. That's why I said that direction is better than speed. We must want Nigerians, ask them, do they want vaccine? If they want it, in what mode and form and how? And it should also be made optional. People's rights, human rights, guaranteed in the Constitution, must be obeyed. Otherwise, we should amend the Constitution first. That's what we're saying.
Interesting. Well, interesting conversation we've had with you this morning on Flow 94.9 FM, transmitting live from Umuahia. Honorable Nkem Abonta, the member representing Ukwa East West at the House of Representatives. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you have an idea of what to know about the bill now, especially as far as the angle, one of the hardliners to this bill is actually fighting for. Now, let's take a look at this bill, but we will soon have a conversation with the chairman of the House Committee on Information, talking about Honorable Benjamin Kalu. But the first red flag discovered and being against by the people is that it was actually plagiarized from the Infectious Disease Act of another country. The B43 draft of the Infectious Disease Bill, that it is over 90% plagiarized from Singapore's Infectious Disease Act of 1977, which means that the speaker who proposed the bill, according to them in court, without research and probably no consultation with relevant bodies as to what the country really needs to fight an outbreak, copied word for word a law enacted for use during the 70s. And Singapore at that time was still a one-party state. So these are some of the controversies surrounding this infectious disease bill. We have joining us this morning now the member representing Bende Federal Constituency and also the chairman of the House Committee on Information and in the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu. Glad to have you join us this morning on Flow 94.9 FM, Honorable.
Thank you for inviting me, Abians. Thank you for tuning in. Let's just make a correction. It's not Chairman Information, it's Chairman Media and Public Affairs.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me.
Glad for that correction. Now, let's begin. What is the impact of the bill at this time?
The import of the bill?
Yes.
The bill is to bridge the gap that is existing in the obsolete act known as Quarantine Act, which came into existence in 1926, Pre-Colonial Act, which was amended, only reviewed in 2004. But such review still left a lot of gaps that has affected the efficient management of infectious diseases in Nigeria. One of the gaps that we noticed was that the schedule of diseases in the act, they only captured yellow fever, captured the smallpox, typhoid, and left out Lassa fever, left out tuberculosis, and of course, because COVID-19 is new, there's no place for it. And that has affected the legal framework that the management agencies need to rely on in protecting Nigeria better. And a lot of people are agitating now that the directives that is coming out with regards to how to manage this pandemic, that they don't have legal backup. And the duty of the legislature is to come up with ideas, which will be proposed to the members to review and repackage it, to represent the interests of those who have elected them. I'm hearing myself on this call, please.
Okay.
Can you do something about it?
Hello.
I'm hearing myself. Yeah.
Can you hear me better now? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you better
Okay.
now. So now the bill also had another gap that we noticed. That gap is in legislative drafting. There is always need to put in a sword, a punitive measure that will control compliance, that will command compliance. This is weak, as it is now, it's very weak in the Quarantine Act. You have 200 to 500 naira as punitive measure for anybody who is spreading disease. So somebody can come to your community and spread disease. When you catch him, you pay 500 naira and you will go. Somebody can run away from isolation center and distribute disease, and then when you catch him, you say, I can only pay 500. That's what the law says.
Okay.
Now, there is no strong, punitive measure. This bill will seek to also take care of that gap. Among other things, also we noticed was that the agency, NCDC, needed a little bit of autonomy from the Ministry of Health, a little bit of independence to be able to deliver efficient service to Nigerians in the management, in both the surveillance of infectious diseases in the country, as well as the management of the spread. As it is now, they have always, in various engagement with us, complained that they don't have the free hand to do what they want to do. But for example, I heard him directly saying, if they had a free hand, they're supposed to have built isolation centers around the country after the Ebola incident.
Okay.
But because they didn't have free hand, that is why we are today talking about isolation center. Testing centers supposed to have been built before now, but because they didn't have free hand, they could not put all those machineries into place, those structures in place. Now, the bill is seeking to make sure that the management of infectious disease, both the current one and the ones that will come tomorrow, will be, better done than what we're experiencing at the moment. But you see, there have been the misconception.
Okay, I was going to ask you on the misconceptions, the agitation and opposition against this bill. I have been able to pen down some things. I would like to highlight them, and I believe you will respond one after the other. Now, there is this claim by some persons agitating against this bill that it was plagiarized from the Infectious Disease Act of another country. Over 90% plagiarism from Singapore's Infectious Disease Act of 1977.
In legal drafting, there is nothing like plagiarism in legal drafting. That is why we have most of our laws borrowed from England. Okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
The only when it is when it becomes a law, all you can say this was borrowed from this particular country, or that there's nothing wrong in adapting a law to suit the unique situation of your country. Okay. There is nothing wrong about, but so people who talk about plagiarism are people who don't understand, how laws are made. There is no brand new law anywhere. You always pick a little bit of this that is working here, a little bit of this from that is working here. Yeah. Sometimes legal drafters even go to the Holy Book to get ideas. Like you have the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
So if I tell you the root of some of the laws that we are using in Nigeria, some of them were influenced by the drafters who were Christians, who also believe in the efficacy of the 10 Commandments. They took it there. So it's influenced by this or that law, and then you tailor it to meet the needs of your country. There is nothing wrong.
Perhaps the fear here is that at that time, 1977, Singapore was still a one-party state, and for a country like Nigeria operating a democratic system.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me when I said adapt to your own situation?
Okay.
Did you hear the word adaptation? Adaptation means you have to tailor-make it to suit your local needs. We are not one-party state, so whatever we are taking from anywhere must reflect that we are a multi-party state, that we are a democracy. But that does not mean that if there are some elements of the law that will help us strengthen ours, we will not do it. It could be from Singapore, it could be from America, it could be from... You'll be shocked if you hear the law that was passed recently on how to control COVID, on disease control by UK. that colonized us, they passed it on the 26th of April. If you see that law, you will not believe it was passed by a country like UK, more draconian in nature than what we're even looking at. But suffice that to say that the fear around the bill, has been influenced by conspiracies, and I can assure you that it is normal for Nigerians to be agitated, for alarm to be raised, for people to feel uncomfortable. But what is the truth behind it? It is not all those appearances may not be reality. You see a mirage on the road and the sun is high. It's mere reflection. It's not that water is on that surface.
Okay.
Now, all those conspiracies coming from opposition and all that, they are doing what they are supposed to do. But the issue remains that the bill was well intended to bridge gaps. Most of the concerns of Nigerians has been the issue of vaccination. Is it going to be mandatory vaccination? Is it going to be that? See, that was why I've always preached that Nigerians should calm down, because this bill has only gone through 2 steps out of the 9 steps of becoming an act. And the House has a process that will make every Nigerian engage in the process of making this bill. For example, it has been, as at yesterday, referred to the relevant committee, which is Committee on Health Institutions and Committee on Health Services. They will look at it with their consultants, and they will call for public hearing. And I'm happy to announce to Nigerians that I've even gotten some NGOs that want to even, support the public hearing, that want to, encourage, pay some of the bills for people to come and aid their opinion. What is the purpose of doing that? Is to enable Nigerians who have elected us, put in like Christian Association of Nigeria that I belong to as a Christian, the church. They will say, no, we don't want this here. We want this there. All the stakeholders, the faith-based organization, the professionals, the medical doctors, the pharmacists, all of them, they will come in, and among other in civil society, organizations, they will come in and will say, we want this. This is why we don't want this. Some of the lawyers will come in and say, this is too much against human rights. This is that. That opportunity will be given to Nigerians, and then we will together fine-tune this particular bill that we actually need now and will need in the future. So the panic should stop. We should only be concerned with the pandemic and the problem that is given to us now. We should not be concerned about the solution that is being proffered on how to manage it. We should not be so tensed up with false information. Fake news is dangerous to any national development. This one is fake news. We've had a lot of things. The National Assembly, they were bribed, and not the rest of them. Bill Gates Foundation did all those things. They were lies. And I want to tell Abians that I love so much, the people that I love so much, Nigerians that we care for, that there is no truth in all those things. And they are asking us to help make this law because they are struggling. The SGF, who is the chairman of the Presidential Task Force, one of the requests he presented yesterday during our engagement with them was that they need legislative intervention to strengthen, the work they are doing, both now and later, which is in line with what we're doing. And remember, I want to remind Nigerians that we are not the first to attempt to work on this Quarantine Act. That the 8th Assembly worked on it, started working on it, but could not finish before the 8th Assembly finished. That is the truth. The gap had been noticed a while ago. It is not because of COVID that they noticed it. Maybe if they had done it last 8th Assembly, COVID may not be among the list that will be on the schedule of diseases that is declared as infectious. The current one doesn't even have tuberculosis in it. So Nigeria should see it in a different way, that this is a bill to bridge the gap. It is not a bill to mandatorily vaccinate everybody. It's not a bill that is trying to put a chip. I had all the vaccines that is going to put a chip in people, and people like Benjamin Okezekal will never agree to such thing.
Okay.
And I have a very loud voice in the National Assembly that I will speak so loud that such thing will not. I promise the church, I promise my people, I promise the governor of the state, I promise the leaders of the state that we are going to be their representative. And anywhere my state stands, anywhere my constituency stands, is where we're going to stand. And my people are saying we don't want mandatory vaccination. And we are going to stand by them. And we don't want any chip on anybody's body. We are going to stand by them. And we don't want to be the guinea pig that we used to test for vaccination. And we are going to stand by them. But the alarm was raised too early just to fan people who want to make trouble, the troublemakers to start talking. The truth remains, it is a well-intended bill to cushion the lack, the gap, the weakness of the old act.
Okay, I want to really appreciate your time on the program this morning, Honorable Benjamin Okezie-Kalu. In fact, the fact that you answered the vexed issue of forceful vaccination, we do appreciate you. A member of the ninth
Thank you.
House of Representatives, and also the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs. Thank you very much for being part of the program this morning.
Thank you for inviting me, and all the best to Abians. Like I always say, support the government of the state. In the peace of the government, in the peace of the state, you will have peace. It doesn't matter the party you belong to. This directive they are giving, follow them. The Abia governor prayed that COVID will not have great impact in Abia state. We join him in that prayer, and God is answering us. Let us not depend on science alone. Let us depend on God. If we hold God tight, I'm sure Abia is going to be a place people will refer to and said, God came and made the place a place of refuge. I encourage everyone, please obey the government of the state, obey the Commissioner of Health, whatever directive that comes from them, comply with it. By so doing, we will be safe. God bless all of you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Benjamin Kalu. Well, there you have the true position of the House of Representatives, because he speaks for the House of Representatives as the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs. Now, let's get the aspect where the civil society organizations, where they are standing, because as it stands now, they will be the one representing you and I at the public hearing for that Infectious Diseases Bill 2020. And as it stands now, it's been suspended. It's past second reading, but it's been said that there will be a public hearing concerning that. This morning, we are joined by Mrs. Lillian Ezenwa Ukawa. That's the Executive Director of Public Enlightenment Project, a health-based non-government organization, NGO. I'm glad to have you join us this morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. My name is Michael, and you're live on Flow 94.9 FM Umahia. Now, madam, from the look of things, aren't we throwing away the bath water with the baby?
No, we are not.
Okay.
On the issue of the bill, Nigerians have every right to be agitated about the bill because of several reasons. The first is the use of draconian and coercive language throughout the entire draft status of the bill. We're in a democracy. There is no need for the House of Rep to draft a bill with such draconian language. So it's important that the House will also redraft several provisions of the bill to conform to legally binding human rights status and standards that Nigeria is signatory to. For example, in the bill breaches individual privacy, confidentiality, and doctor-patient data privacy. This is in breach of Section 37 of 1999 Constitution. Also, if you look at the Freedom of Information Act, Section 14 discloses that it is wrong to take personal data without obtaining the consent of the individual. Whereas in this bill empowers the NCDC to arbitrarily pick up someone and move the person to an isolation center without as much as giving this person informed information about his or her results. The bill also restricts freedom of association, gathering, and public entertainment. If you check that out, you see that in Section 20 of the bill.
I have studied the bill already.
Yeah.
But the argument coming from the House of Representatives now is that this bill is for the good of Nigerians. I'm quoting the member representing Bender Federal Constituency now, that he quoted the NCDC chairman, that's talking about Dr. Chikwe Hiekwazu, that they would have done more if there were provisions after the fight against Ebola. They would have built more isolation centers, but that wasn't included in the law for the NCDC to carry that out. So is there really nothing good that we can get from this proposed bill?
There are some good things that we'll get, but we are saying that the bill should respect the human rights of Nigerians.
So that's okay. Go on, please.
How can you do a public hearing on a bill, first hearing, second hearing in one day? Now, there has been no public hearing. I understand the situation. They are saying, because of the situation Nigeria is in now. But you can still conduct public hearings online. You can ask for the views of key stakeholders to study the bill and send in their submissions, instead of trying to pass such a bill without public consultation.
Okay.
So these are the things that we need to review. Yes, if these things are reviewed, the bill can sell through.
Also, as a health advocate, what are your biggest fears if piece of legislation are still untouched?
The compulsory vaccination against disease.
Okay.
This is inconsistent with principles of civil rights and liberties of citizens, without giving people free and informed prior consent.
Okay.
Now, the question is, do we even have enough facilities on ground now to conduct tests? We don't. And here we're talking about compulsorily vaccinating all citizens. Another challenge that we have with the bill is the arbitrary destruction of structures in a place where they find that there is infectious disease. You can't take away citizens' right to property by destroying everything they own just because you feel that a disease, an infectious disease, have broken out in the area. Another biggest challenge is the power vested in the police to arrest anyone on behalf of NCDC and Minister of Health who they feel has disease. You can see what is happening now. Police people have been violating human rights, flogging citizens, shooting citizens, all in the bid to enforce the lockdown order. Now imagine what will happen when there is this arbitrary right to the police to arrest. Now the police does not have the capacity to test. The police are not medical officials. This right could be abused. If I have a problem with my neighbor, I can just call the police and say, look, I feel this man has coronavirus or an infectious disease, even Lassa fever. And the police will just come and pick him up without testing him, without taking him to a medical facility first. These are challenges with the bill.
Oh, interesting. Those are the challenges and some of the concerns you've raised, agitating against and opposing this bill. But we want to know, what do you make of our health system, which the bill seeks to reinforce?
Well, our health system currently is weak. One of the good things that have come out of this pandemic for all of us is the need. It has brought to the fore what we have been agitating for years now. For more allocation, financial allocation, the data allocation should be given to the health sector. And this is one good area that the bill is talking about. We agree with the bill on this area. We need to provide more testing facilities, equip our hospitals, train and retrain our medical personnel, and improve hazard allowances to frontline health officials. If this aspect of the bill is implemented, I believe that all Nigerians will be better for it.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution this morning on the program, Madam Mrs. Lillian Ezemwa, Executive Director, Public Enlightenment Projects, health-based non-government organization. You're a known health advocate. Thank you very much for being part of the program this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, there you have the aspect the non-government organizations are talking about, the CSOs rather, the civil society groups are clamoring for what they think. So we want to hear from you. You've heard from the both sides of the coin now this morning. What do you make of the infectious disease bill that has been proposed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, talking about Femi Gbajabiamila, hoping it will become a law in Nigeria? Be part of the conversation this morning. 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. You can also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is Emmanuel, aka the priest of the Sohoma here.
Welcome, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I've heard from Honorable Benjamin Carlo and the other lady. Please, that infectious disease being is anti-people. I don't know what Honorable Benjamin Carlo is trying to tell us. Trying to cover up everything. That Bill Gates is not the one sponsoring them. But we know that Bill Gates has come out openly to say that everybody in the whole world should be vaccinated. That is why we are suspecting Bill Gates that he is the one behind all this. Now, come to think of it, does coronavirus have any vaccine? Does he have any vaccine as we speak? Even if there is a vaccine to prevent coronavirus, why is it that America, Italy, Spain, and all these people that have high cases of coronavirus, they are not started using the vaccines? Even if they are using, even though they are still using it, the cases are still increasing every day in the US. More than 2,000 people died in the US yesterday, just yesterday alone. And if they are forcing us to use, look, let them, why should they even force us? Even if it is for our own good, why should they force us to use that vaccine? That thing is anti-people and it's satanic. I'm tempted to say only, I'm sorry. But it is satanic. Let them cancel that bill in totality. I don't know what Benjamin Khan is trying to tell us that they're trying to cover up the things. Let them cancel that bill. They cannot, if they try, we will never accept that bill.
All right, Emmanuel. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, it's Alvan. I'm calling you from Bende.
Welcome, Alvan.
Yeah, I must commend a member representing Bende Federal Constituency, Honorable Benjamin Carlo, for his explanation. Okay. I love the part he advised other people to continue to support the government of Abia State, ably led by Governor Okeze Ikpeazu. Of course, I like the fact that he understands that governor is really doing well to check this virus. You know, he's not of the PDP, but he believes that at the end of politics or election, governance will be the order of the day. So I want to urge his APC members to...
What do you make of the infectious disease bill? That's the point of... That's the topic this morning.
I want to urge them to toe his line of politics without bitterness, politics of moving at the state forward. Michael, I won't be very fast in writing off the bill or joining the conspiracy theory that this, that, and that. You know, it's quite unfortunate that we are using an art or a pre-colonial art, you know. Of course, like your last the person in particular said, is a wake-up call for us to check our health sector in terms of disease control. So, but let them look at the area where people are pointing at, you know, the controversial, part of the bill should be jettisoned. But we cannot throw away the baby with the bathwater. No, we must have a bill that will strengthen the Center for Disease Control. We must have a bill that will strengthen our health, sector. We must have a bill that will think of how to care for our people, looking forward. That is my own take. So it's not just at the end of the road. It will go on public hearing. People will say their mind, and they will take the necessary part and leave the part people feel that will,
Hello, good morning.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Good
morning.
day, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yes, it's Chief Tabasne Kejuku
Well-
from Ituboma in Imo State.
Welcome, Chief.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I'll give kudos to the governor of Abia State, Dr. Ibazu. He has been very wonderful in all his administrative facets. Has been trying a lot. Okay, at the same time, I give kudos to the two people that have talked in the radio house. They have been excellent.
There were three, anyways.
Yeah, two of them,
interviewed
yes.
three
Sorry, yes.
persons.
Yes, the explanations are very excellent. There's no one you can call some person that you are going to vaccinate him by force. It's not done. Unless they want to reduce some population of the section of Nigeria. You can't force somebody to be vaccinated. It is a civic right of a person either to be vaccinated or not. So such bill should not be for us. They after in America, they die in thousands. Up to today, they are saying that their vaccination will be ready in September this year. How come this one is ready for Nigerians? Please, not for us. Thank you very much. I love your work.
Thank you for your contribution, Chief, all the way from Imo State. Hello, good morning.